Hi there, this is Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and I just wanted to show you how I made March's thank you cards. For all the customers that order for me in March, I send them a thank you card and I use this layout. Now actually their card, the card that went out, looks like this. I use the Forever Greenery Designer Series paper, but I wanted to give you a little sneak peek of the new Designer Series paper and some new in colors, so I'm gonna make the card today look like this. And we're going to start beginning to end, and I'll show you how I cut the paper and everything. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing, let me put this in so you see what we're making. So the first thing to do is cut our card base. I have my card trimmer here. I'm going to take it with the 8.5 inch side at the top at 4 1/4, and I'm going to just score it right there at 4 1/4. Then when I put the 11 inch side at the top, I'm going to cut it in half at 5 1/2. And now right there I have two card bases, if I can pick this one up, two card bases scored and ready to go. And this is the new, let me make sure I get the name of this right, Evening Evergreen. Is that not a beautiful rich green color of cardstock? This is one of the new in colors from the upcoming catalog. It's not available yet, but it will be here soon. Then for the inside of our card, and now I need to open my paper trimmer, bring out the arm here. I hope you can see it all, maybe not all of it, but I can talk as we go. I'm going to put the 11 inch side at the top of my trimmer here, and I'm going to put it at 10 1/2, and then trim off that little piece here, and then take it over to 5 1/4, which is going to cut my 10 1/2 sheet of cardstock in half. And then we have two 5 1/4 by 8 1/2, and we're going to put those together and then put those in with the 8 1/2 at the top and line them up at 8 1/4. We're going to just cut that little bit off of here at not 8 1/4, my bad, 8. Jeez, Kathy, come on. We're going to cut that off at 8. We want 8. There we go. And then we're going to cut it off at 4, or cut it in half at 4. So now we have our 4 basic white for the inside of our card. There's all 4 of them there. Okay. And then I have another new in color here. It's called Pale Papaya. And I'm going to cut this one a little different so I can get 5 pieces of cardstock the size I need out of this one sheet of paper. So I'm going to put it in here at 4 1/2, and then cut that. Now this is 8 1/2 at the top, and I put it at 4 1/2 and cut that. So then I have these 2 pieces of cardstock here. Right now, this one that we just cut at 4 1/2, I'm going to put the 11 inch side here, and I'm going to cut it at 9 3/4. And then I'm going to move my paper over to 6 1/2. That gives us 1. And then at 3 1/4. And look how fast, now we already have 3 pieces of paper. Now the other piece of cardstock that we cut off, I'm going to put, this is, well, I don't even know how wide this is. Let me look real quick. This is 4 inches here. I'm going to cut it down to 3 1/4. Because our bottom line is we need 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 inch pieces. So then I'm going to put the 11 inch side at 9 and cut that down, and then cut that in half at 4 1/2. And by cutting the paper this way, now I have 5 pieces of cardstock that are all 4 1/2 by 3 1/4 out of that one 8 1/2 by 11. I hope that makes sense. And then ahead of time, because I've already made some of my cards, I cut a 12 by 12 piece of Designer Series paper. Now this is a sneak peek of a Designer Series paper in the upcoming catalog. I cut, these are all 3 by 3, so you can get 16 pieces of 3 by 3 cardstock out of a 12 by 12, or you can get 4 pieces out of a 6 by 6 sheet of Designer Series paper. But real quick, let me just show you the rest of this Designer Series paper. It looks like this. Now this pattern here reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. Remember when she went into the garden and they thought she was a weed and all the flowers were angry at her and they have these little angry faces? That's all I can see when I look at that pattern. But the reason I got this designer series paper, because it has all of those new in colors in this designer series paper. And aren't they just beautiful? Look how pretty that is. And then the back of these are just as pretty as the front. Or maybe this is the front and the other side's the back. But it's got that striped, it's got some wonky polka dots, and then it has gingham. And we all love, I can't get to, I think that's called gingham, plaid. I don't know, I remember in high school I made a apron out of that for one of my sewing projects in home ec. Did y'all have to take home ec in high school? Anyway, so there you go, that's the designer series paper in the upcoming catalog. Now for today's card, I'm going to use my Stamparatus because I'm going to make a bunch of these cards, right? So I have, let me get that off. I have my plate, or my base, not my plate. I do have my plate here too, but I have my base, and then I have that sponge mat that comes with the Stamparatus. And then I have my grid paper here, and you know me, I like to put that piece of sticky grid paper, sticky grid paper. It's not a Stampin' Up! Product, it's a Sizzix product, but I love it on my Stamparatus. And then if you can see here, I've drawn myself a corner. So I'm going to put my cardstock in this corner every time. I'm gonna line up my designer series paper with my angry little flowers is gonna go about there. And then I'm gonna use a new stamp set that's out of the upcoming catalog. This is called Color and Contour, and I absolutely love this stamp set, but the dies are even better. Look at the dies that coordinate with that. I'm excited to start playing with these rectangles. I haven't played with them yet, and this to put along the bottom of my cardstock or make some water with those stitched edges. I'm not sure exactly what I'll use that for, but I bet you it's endless. So that's the dies that match the stamp set. We're not going to use the dies today, we're going to use this stamp set. But I'm going to take this stamp, You're Absolutely Amazing, and lay that where I want it here on my paper. Try to get it straight. Okay, I'm going to put my stamp set under my plate, it just makes it a little bit easier. Lay my plate down, pick my stamp up. I'm going to use my bone folder here underneath, maybe I am, to hold my cardstock, because we know that photopolymer stamp is sticky. And hold that down there. Now we go. Okay, now we're ready. I'm going to use some of that new In Color Evening Evergreen. I wasn't sure about this color when I saw it not live or on screen, but man, now that I have it live, it's a beautiful green, dark green color, like that card base I showed you earlier. But look, it's not quite, stamping on colored cardstock isn't quite as friendly as stamping on colored cardstock. So my Stamparatus, I can ink it up again and just slap it down there again. And now look how pretty that looks. And then since I'm using my Stamparatus, I could take the next one, line it up in this corner here, ink it up again, lay it down, let that ink sink in for a little while. Do it again, but you get the gist, right? That with the Stamparatus you can stamp this and get a good image because you can do it twice. So let me set that aside. I'm not going to stamp them all now. I just wanted to show you. And then also from this, we might as well go ahead and do the inside of our card on that Whisper White, or that basic white that I cut. I'm going to use the same Evening Evergreen ink. Just ink that big, it's this one right here, it's the outline of the flower, and then lay that down here on my cardstock. Let that ink sink in, and look how pretty that is. Then we're going to take this stamp here with some Pale Papaya, another one of those new in colors coming in. Ink that up good, set down. Now this stamp set isn't perfect, it's more like a watercolor, so it's kind of a messy stamp set. It's not going to line up in there perfect, but look how pretty the inside of my card is now. So now we have all of our stamping done. Let's go ahead and assemble our card. Bring in that card base first. I like to have the score line with the mountain or the bump on the inside of my card. Fold that in there. My bone folder, a good crisp fold there. Might as well go ahead and take the inside of our card, a little bit of tape runner, and lay that down on the inside. And then the front of our card, that little piece of Designer Series paper, just up here at the top, centered. And then I'm going to use this In Color ribbon. It's called, what is this one called? Evening Evergreen Open Weave Ribbon. But look how pretty that is. In fact, here's all the in colors with all the ribbon, and look how pretty all that ribbon is. And you can really see how pretty the in colors are. And like I said, they're not available yet unless you're a demonstrator. If you're a demonstrator, Stampin' Up! Gives us a little list of stuff we can pre-order from the new catalog. Now, if you decide you want some of that stuff and you want to become a demonstrator or buy the starter kit, it's a really good deal. There's a link on my blog. I think it says join. I don't know. You can join the Stampin' Up! Family. It's $99 for the starter kit. You get $125 worth of products and free shipping. So it's totally worth it. They also throw in a paper pumpkin and all the business supplies you need. Order forms, catalogs, everything else you need for your Stampin' Up! Business. Not to mention the discount that you get after you become a demonstrator. Okay, so there we have our, but anyway, back to my blog. If you have any questions, you be sure and let me know, and I will answer all the questions about becoming a demonstrator and buying that starter kit. Also on my blog, which did I mention is Be Creative with Kathy, you can find all the measurements for today's card and all my other videos. All the other cards on my videos are all on my blog, Be Creative with Kathy. A few dimensionals on the back of this, and then we turn this over, centered on our card. And look how simple that is. Now it's a very basic, simple card. I think it's straight. Maybe it's not even straight, but fast and easy. So there you go. There's my card today. I hope you like what you saw. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel and click that bell so you can see future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here on Friday. Bye-bye.